You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
The people who end up paying for those who cannot or will not pay their bills or do not have insurance falls on the healthcare people who do pay for it or the taxpayers.
Going to the ER with or without insurance can be expensive, but who ends up paying for those without insurance? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on the cost of health care in a moment, but first, our top stories at 7. And good job, everyone. Manatee and Sarasota counties shattered voter turnout expectations in yesterday's primary. Both counties had more voters than in any other recent year. Both Sarasota and Manatee counties had about 32% of voters cast ballots, while a handful of voters were motivated by specific local races from school board to state legislature or county commission. Experts say the gubernatorial race is what drove voters the most. There were competitive races on both sides of the aisle in the race for governor and even in the Democratic race, which was closer. More Republicans came out to vote.
The Florida Supervisor of Elections reported that the Republicans actually showed up better than the Democrats. So this whole idea of the blue wave, I don't know if you can even take that into consideration, because over 120,000 more Republicans showed up to vote than Democrats showed up to vote.
Voter turnout wasn't the only high number yesterday. The amount of money spent between the Democratic candidates alone surpassed $100 million. There will not be any recent recounts after last night's election, despite a handful of close races. Under Florida law, if a race is separated by 1.5%, 1%, there is an automatic machine recount. There aren't any local races in that category.
I've also had people ask, well, do you have runoffs like in the governor's election? Because no, you don't. So the person that received the most votes, they go on to November. They're the nominee.
The closest race on the Suncoast was the race for Manatee County Commission, District 2, between Reggie Bellamy and Charles Smith. Bellamy won that race by 185 votes. We are in for one super duper race for governor. Yesterday, Republicans chose Congressman Ron DeSantis, a conservative who aligned himself with President Trump, while Democrats shocked many by voting for Andrew Gillum, the mayor of Tallahassee. And with the issues laid out on both sides, New College political science professor Frank Alcock says independents will make a big difference in this race.
Those numbers are increasing. They're over 1 in 4, high 20% of voters statewide. Who will they pick? And I think they're out there for courting on both sides.
He also says the race can give us a sneak peek in what we might expect in 2020. It is back to the campaign trail for the winners of 2 local congressional races on the Suncoast. David Shapiro beat fellow attorney Jan Schneider and now goes on to face incumbent Vern Buchanan in the District 16th congressional district race. And State Senator Greg Steube beat 2 opponents in District 17. He takes on Democrat April Freeman of Cape Coral in the race to replace retiring Congressman Tom Rooney. This morning on Good Morning Suncoast, Steube and Shapiro talked about the big issues.
Plus, I'm not going to be taking any money from any big sugar that's dumping some pollutants into the Lake Okeechobee and making the red tide that we're experiencing much worse.
My family's from this area. Not a better person to represent an agricultural district. I have a background in agriculture, which is an important part of this district.
So it is Shapiro versus Buchanan and Steube versus April Freeman. Freeman lives near Fort Myers and ran for the seat 2 years ago, but lost it to Congressman Tom Rooney, who is now stepping down. Election Day is just 10 weeks away. As construction continues on the new spring training stadium for the Atlanta Braves in Northport, today the team announcing its 2019 spring training schedule. Atlanta's 32-game slate will begin on February 23rd with a road game against the New York Mets in Port St. Lucie. The Braves will conclude the Florida portion of their exhibition season with the opening of their new spring training facility in West Villages in the city of Northport on Sunday, March 24th against the Tampa Bay Rays. And another major league team who has had their spring training on the Suncoast released their spring training schedule today. The Baltimore Orioles will also begin the 2019 spring training on February 23rd, but at home at Ed Smith Stadium in Sarasota against the Minnesota Twins. The Orioles will have 17 more home games starting the spring training when it will conclude on March 25th. Now let's head over to ABC7's chief meteorologist, Bob Harrigan, who always knocks it out of the park. Bob.
Boom, yes. How about the Rays lately, too? They've been doing quite well. Beating Boston, I think, over the weekend. Swept them and doing pretty well right now. We are looking at a different story tonight than we've seen in the past couple of nights. What's been going on? We had the southeast wind around high pressure off the Carolina coast that's butting up against the west coast breeze. We have a big area of storms that develops in the afternoon, then it moves on out into the Gulf and things quiet down. Well, we had some storms out here in the Gulf of Mexico throughout much of the morning, and that has been throwing these little miniature fronts toward the coast, and that is keeping these storms alive this evening. So we're still seeing some moderate to heavy rainfall occurring. It's been going on since about 3 o'clock this afternoon, 2 o'clock in some cases, and rain has been moderate now near Minnesota and just near Tarpon Point. Northport, you're going to get a brief moderate shower moving through. You're already starting to see that, in fact. Osprey, a little break right now, but this is heading in your general direction. And then up into Manatee County near Parrish, some moderate rainfall spreading off into the east. Not the best of news because the rivers and streams are pretty much at bankful or above that in our viewing area. And we're expecting additional shower and thunderstorm activity each and every afternoon. And I think that's only going to exacerbate the problem of the upcoming days and into the weekend. On top of that, we have a tropical wave heading our way. Looks like it'll be here sometime Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, which will really enhance our storms if it stays together, and I think it will as it makes its way in our direction. It's now near Puerto Rico. That rain now spreading off to the northwest. It's pretty heavy right there by Sebring, just to the west of Sebring. A couple of lightning strikes. That's one thing we have noticed. Not a lot of lightning out there, but there's still always that chance for a rogue lightning strike, especially near a storm like that one near Sebring. Alan?
A federal law requires hospitals to stabilize all patients that walk into emergency rooms, whether or not they have health insurance. But when those patients are unable to pay, who becomes responsible for the costs? ABC7's Erica Jackson joins us now to share who is actually paying the bills. Erica.
Alan, thank you. A 2015 study shows every ER visit by an uninsured patient leads to $900 in uncompensated costs. Some of that falls on the hospital, and it may also fall on you.
The middle class is one emergency away from being bankrupt.
Debbie Coyne doesn't ask for much out of life. She just wants good health with no medical surprises.
It should not happen in 2018 that anybody's denied health care.
So what happens when the uninsured and poverty-stricken Americans go to the hospital and can't pay the bill? Hospitals front the cost.
People are actually going to ERs for treatment nowadays because of the big problems with health insurance.
Sarasota Memorial Hospital says it fronted more than $100 million in safety net care costs in the 2017 fiscal year. $16 million of that covered 24-hour specialty care for trauma and emergency room patients, and nearly $10 million for indigent adults not eligible for health care coverage. Some aren't convinced hospitals are always responsible for the bill.
It's been determined that medical care is a for-profit business instead of having a commitment to really taking care of our citizens and taking care of the community.
The people who end up paying for those who cannot or will not pay their bills or do not have insurance falls on the health care people who do pay for it or the taxpayers through the government.
Many of the 28.2 million uninsured Americans under 65 don't want that bill to fall on anyone else. Coyne falls in that category. She says her family's income is too high to qualify for Obamacare, but can't afford the premiums charged by private insurance companies. So the family avoids hospital visits at all cost.
You have that fear of, if I go, I'm going to have thousands and thousands and $1,000s in debt.
She's dealing with the repercussions of living in America without health care coverage. Coyne was rushed to Blake Medical Center in August, and 1 year later, she's still struggling to pay off her $2,000 bill for just seeing a doctor and getting an electrocardiogram.
I do believe it is, the middle class that's fallen through the cracks.
The latest data from the CDC shows the number of emergency visits reached an all-time high in 2014, with 141 million patients visiting the ER the year Obamacare's insurance expansion went into effect.
It doesn't matter if they're poor or rich, what race they are, where they're from, if they're here legally or illegally. You cannot tell them, go out on the street and die, and we're not going to take care of you.
Emergency rooms are required to stabilize patients, whether insured or not, under the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act.
They're not required to treat them, they're required to stabilize them.
They can't go to a regular doctor and make that appointment, and because you can be turned down from a doctor's appointment, but you can't at the ER.
A 2016 study by the National Bureau of Economic Research reports an uninsured person who will go to the hospital this year doubles their chance of filing for bankruptcy by 2022. Coyne wants America to find a better solution for health care, so she doesn't become another statistic.
Every day we say lots of prayers.
Only a portion of Americans are living without health insurance. The CDC reports nearly 70% of adults under 65 are covered by a private health insurance agency. 12% are uninsured, with 20% of Americans covered by public insurance.
Erica, thank you. In a moment, the trapezoid. Stay with us.
Hurricane season is here, and so is the official Suncoast Hurricane Guide from ABC7. This essential resource arms you with vital information you need to protect your family and property when severe weather threatens the Suncoast, including how to create your readiness plan and survival kit, shelter locations, what to do with pets, and important phone numbers. Visit mysuncoast.com and download the official Suncoast Hurricane Guide from ABC7. Brought to you by Batteries Plus, the Florida Lottery, and Sarasota Glass and Mirror.
According to a new survey by U.S. News and World Report, 3 of Alabama's top 4 hotels and resorts are part of the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail Resort Collection. The Grand Hotel Marriott Resort in Point Clear, the Battle House Renaissance Mobile Hotel and Spa, and the Renaissance Birmingham Ross Bridge Golf Resort and Spa. Hey, we didn't invent Southern hospitality, we just offer more of it. Visit rtjgolf.com/resorts to find out more.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TrueStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TrueStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Many websites selling medication may look professional and legitimate, but the vast majority of sites selling prescription drugs are doing so illegally. Criminals use websites to sell counterfeit medications that may contain life-threatening toxins. Dot Pharmacy is a website verification program that helps you identify safe and trustworthy online pharmacies. Purchasing medicine online can be safe and easy. Just look for pharmacy to the right of the dot in website addresses.
Welcome back, everyone. Tonight, the fact and the fiction about who pays the cost of the uninsured at the emergency room and at the hospital. 1985 federal law requires hospitals to stabilize and treat everyone regardless whether they have an ability to pay. That has sometimes led to misconceptions about who is in the end picks up the tab, the hospital, the taxpayer, or who. Joining us for more are Dave Arinder, CEO of Sarasota Memorial Hospital, Diane Settle, who oversees SMH's Financial Assistance Program, and Catherine Cantley, who oversees the Community Specialty Clinic. So, Dave, let me start with you. And if I ask you as that basic question, if somebody walks into the ER tonight who has no health insurance, they are treated, but who picks up the cost?
So it's absolutely true. Anyone who comes in a hospital gets assessed and treated, no matter their ability to pay. You know, we don't worry about that. We worry about getting somebody well first, and at the end of the day, it's the resources of the healthcare system that cover the cost of that. And you know, to the extent we make margin on different things, that gets applied to the people who need help.
Tell me if I'm right or wrong about this, but in my reading, one story says the majority of hospitals which are nonprofit are exempted from federal, state, and local taxes if they provide community benefit like charity care. Hospitals receive federal funding to offset some of the costs of treating the poor. So I would say that it is true that we have a mandate to take care of, you know, all patients and certainly give a part of our care in charity. What is, if the federal government pays for any of it, not directly, but probably indirectly in some of the payment schemes that they have, but I would say it does not cover the cost of any kind of charity care. Diana, I'm sorry. There is a difference between those who flat out have no health insurance to pay for the cost of emergency care and those who are underinsured, and therefore the hospital does have financial assistance in those cases, correct?
Yes, we have both charity and financial assistance policies. And that really is trying to cover a broad spectrum of both the uninsured and underinsured, because there are a lot of underinsured patients out there today with very high deductibles. So we work to assist both of those sets of patients in trying to minimize their out-of-pocket cost.
And Catherine, I think that most people don't understand how this works in terms of emergency rooms treat emergencies, but there are a lot of people who go to the emergency room or need medical attention that is not strictly emergent care, and that's where you come in because you have a community clinic that helps out in those cases.
Yeah, so years ago, Sarasota Memorial got together with the health department and the Friendship Center and our clinic, and we created what's called a system of care to help specifically patients who come into the ER and are kind of using it as a primary care rather than having a physician because they're uninsured. And out of that system of care came a position called the community care coach. So Sarasota Memorial has now an RN who is in the emergency department, and when patients come in who are uninsured, she directs them to places in the community that can help them.
All right, I want to talk about that a lot more in a moment. Our conversation on the cost of healthcare continues right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, and it's back to those storms. We've had it for 5 days now in a row with big afternoon thunderstorms around the ground saturated. The heavy rain comes 2 inches an hour in some cases, and that causes road and street flooding across the area at times. ABC7 tower cam. Notice how the clouds are moving in different directions here. We have the northwest. This is actually moving off the northwest, and we have some moving in from the northeast there, and west movement out in the upper levels. This overrunning is creating some light to moderate rain still lingering across the Suncoast. It came heavy today near Venice, and some photos set in of some shelf clouds, some pretty interesting shelf clouds. Get a look at this. Very impressive. This from Mayaca City. Brandy Lee sending that one in, and also Jan Foster. This is another shelf cloud that you see right there. If it separates itself, it becomes a roll cloud. That was at University Parkway. And boy, the lightning has been intense, and it's not just during the storm. It's even after the storm has passed, so keep that in mind over the upcoming days. We're getting these bolts that are coming out from the storms that are well away from the rain, the heavy rain area. Right now, you can see that overrunning still occurring, light rain occurring near Englewood. That line has kind of weakened, but it's still bringing some moderate rainfall near Venice. Intense storm near Wauchula earlier has now settled down, but there's one cell just to the east of Wauchula and west of Sebring that's acting up. Northport, you're getting some light rain now, and also up into Venice, some light rain still lingering, as well as into Parrish and Braden and Sarasota. Out of Lombo Key, it's kind of a interesting situation we're going to see with this cell as it makes its way off to the northwest. You could still see some moderate to heavy storms there near Wauchula. Well, rainfall rates, I mentioned, pretty heavy, and we did have some issues with some areas getting a little bit more than they wanted. We had a roof collapse right there at Venice and 41 in Jacaranda at a bank there, and 1.6 inches of rainfall fell there, the highest amount that I could find was near Minnesota, just to the east on looks like Minnesota Key. Also some heavier rainfall at 2.2 inches at Manatee Avenue and the 39th Street, I think, Street West. They had up to 2.5 inches of rainfall there, causing some flooding of the roadway. Tonight, look for generally partly cloudy to mostly fair skies overnight. Showers and storms coming back into the picture tomorrow afternoon. Maybe not as many. That will be a result of a little drier air, just slightly drier air in the upper levels of the atmosphere, but still some pretty big storms around. And we do it again on Friday, football Friday night. Could see a few scattered storms in the afternoon and evening. As we move through time, though, things will start to calm down later in the day on Friday, later in the night, I should say. A lot of moisture in place. There's that dry air I mentioned still kind of hanging out east of the Bahamas. This is going to slowly work its way in tomorrow and on Friday. Well, the tropics, this is the time of year things really start to pop, and we aren't expecting a lot of activity, but we could still see some big storms forming, one coming off the coast of Africa. But more importantly for us, this tropical wave right here, which is really starting to flare up, it's being sheared apart. But by the time it reaches the Gulf of Mexico midweek next week, there's a chance it could develop into a named system. We'll keep an eye on it for you. Europeans have been flip-flopping back and forth from a tropical wave to a tropical low, a depression possibly forming next week. We'll see. Winds out of the east at 10 knots. Seas will be 1 to 2 feet. There'll be a light chop out there on the bays and inland waters. The 7-day forecast then, elevated rain chances in the afternoon and evening right through the holiday weekend and beyond. We'll be watching the tropics on Tuesday and Wednesday. More than likely, we'll be dealing with a tropical wave. But as I said, this time of season, you got to keep an eye out to the sky. Alan will be back with his guests right after this.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
A home can be much more than just a house. But for some of our neighbors, home means uncertainty and isolation. At Rebuilding Together, we turn houses into homes and revitalize our communities. Because a neighborhood is more than just houses and streets. It's familiar faces and open arms. Join the movement to ensure everyone can live in a safe home and community. Become a rebuilder today.
Each day, researchers make discoveries that bring us closer to the moment when all cancer patients can become survivors. Their progress is made possible with the help of clinical trials. Clinical trials are the brightest torch researchers have to light their way towards better treatments. And if you've been diagnosed with cancer, they may be your brightest ray of hope. Speak with your doctor and visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials to learn more. Together, we can stand up for all of us.
I'll be right back.
Welcome back. Our topic tonight, emergency room costs and the uninsured. And joining us for more are Dave Verander, CEO of Sarasota Memorial Hospital, Diane Settle, who oversees SMH's Financial Assistance Program, and Catherine Cantley, who oversees the Community Specialty Clinic. Dave, once again, the idea with Obamacare, the ACA, was that payments to hospitals were going to be cut back for this type of emergency care for the uninsured, based upon the belief that Obamacare in general would result in lower costs of medical care, but it really has not turned out that way.
Yeah, I would agree. The ACA, Affordable Care Act, really, it did reduce payments from Medicare to hospitals. The idea is that now you would have uninsured people that had to get insurance and would end up having insurance, and then it would also, another part of that would have Medicaid expansion on top of that. And so what we did see was payments being reduced, and there's all the controversy about whether people have to get insurance or not under the Affordable Care Act. And then in the state of Florida, we never saw Medicaid expanded.
Let's take those two issues separately. What kind of stress or duress did that result have on hospitals like SMH and other hospitals?
It put stress on all hospitals. I would tell you, when you're in Florida and you have a majority of your patients being on Medicare, just because of the dynamic of the age of Florida in this area, it put more stress on hospitals like Sarasota Memorial and others in the Gulf Coast.
And you know, the issue about whether or not to expand Medicaid, that has obviously the Florida legislature has not done that. It has been done in other states with Republican legislatures, and I'm thinking about Ohio, for instance. How would that change the situation that local hospitals are in?
Well, in the state of Florida, it's a very narrow set of people who are eligible for Medicaid. Generally, you have to have a minor child in the house. And that way, it would have, had we done a Medicaid expansion, it would have had more people eligible for Medicaid. Now, Medicaid is not the end-all be-all great thing. I mean, it's hard to find doctors on it. It doesn't pay very well, but at least it gives some level of coverage to people that didn't have any.
Right, and Catherine, if you could explain, most people don't understand in terms of who is eligible for Medicaid, for emergency room care and so forth.
Yeah, often people think that if your income level is low that you automatically qualify for Medicaid, but you don't. As David said, you have to have one minor child at least in the home, or be on disability or be over 65. Those are the criteria for receiving it.
Okay, we have to take another quick break. We are just getting warmed up. Our conversation on the cost of health care will continue right after a quick break. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
To be able to just get my son here and not think about how we will pay for it, it just takes so much weight off of my family. St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
Planning the right amount of food is hard. The Guestimator makes it easy. Just tell it who's coming and what's for dinner. Then it tells you how much to make. And yes, it even plans for leftovers. Try it at SaveTheFood.com.
Everyone's buzzing about Suncoast View, live at 9 on ABC7.
I like watching the Suncoast View.
I like the Suncoast View.
The cooking segments, I love the recipes. The theater segments are terrific.
Join Stephanie Roberts, Linda Carson, and Joey Panic on Suncoast View for hot topics, everyday issues, celebrities, food, fashion, fitness, and everything in between. Nothing is off limits.
They're just fun.
For smart, fun talk in the morning, watch Suncoast View, live at 9. Weekdays on ABC7.
The body, it is a work of art and a powerful ally in the fight against cancer. A new approach called immunotherapy works by helping our immune system correctly identify and eradicate many types of cancer cells. Speak with your doctor and visit su2c.org/immunotherapy to learn more. Your body might just be your greatest hope.
Don't allow your weight to threaten your health or control your future. Excess weight or obesity can cause emotional and physical health risks. But you can take control. The Your Weight Matters campaign offers free resources and tips to help you measure and understand your weight. Take the Your Weight Matters Challenge. The free toolkit prepares you to speak with a healthcare provider about your weight. Your weight does matter. Take the challenge and take control today.
Find out first at 4 with ABC7 News at 4. First alert weather, breaking news, live updates, traffic hotspots, all at a new, more convenient time. Find out first at 4, weekdays on ABC7. You're watching ABC7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back, everyone. Our topic tonight, emergency room costs and the uninsured. And joining us for more are Dave Arinder, CEO of Sarasota Memorial Hospital, Diane Settle, who oversees SMH's financial assistance program, and Catherine Cantley, who oversees the community specialty clinic. And Diane, there was a point that you wanted to make in our last block.
Yes, with Medicaid expansion, it would have touched a part of the population I really would consider the working poor. And we have a large population here in town that are in that, $18,000 to maybe $24,000 a year and trying to pay rent and their food. This would have touched that group of people and made some of them eligible for medical services.
So let's talk about this, because whether or not to accept Medicaid expansion, it is a huge political issue here and across the country. And it gets down to whether or not state legislators of another party will support Obamacare. But it has a practical impact, as you say, in terms of where do the working poor go and get emergency care and also care for other things. And it would have would it have been a way to deal with maybe not emergencies but serious illnesses, and before they get to something that becomes a true emergency?
Well, it would be much less costly for the overall healthcare industry, right, if you sought care when you had a problem and not when it became a major medical issue. And the staff down in the emergency room are looking for those folks that might need Catherine's and her clinic's help. And usually they seek that help when they're really at that medical emergency and are not really proactive in solving that problem when it first occurs.
So Catherine, tell me, give me some examples of what you would see in terms of, right now people could go to the clinic and get that kind of treatment, but who is falling through the cracks, and as a result, illnesses that could have been averted in terms of becoming serious become serious because they don't feel like there's a place to go early.
Well, in Sarasota County, we're really, really lucky because there is this system of care. And so folks who end up in the ER and they encounter the community care coach, she will point them in the direction of the health department or our new Newtown internal medicine residency clinic, and get them established with a primary care provider so that they have a medical home. And then our clinic is specialty care only, and we take referrals from those places. So it ends up being a positive loop for the patient of getting them integrated into a healthcare system that they can afford on a sliding scale. Or our clinic, for example, is completely free. All our doctors volunteer for us at no charge to the patient.
But how unique is that? I mean, we're blessed in Sarasota County that we're an affluent community and we could afford things like this. But as you look around the state, Do other communities have similar types of programs?
No, I mean, some of them have something, but not to the extent that we do. And when you go further inland in more rural areas, there really is not much of anything for those patients who are living in those areas.
And Dave, we could talk, you know, this is also a controversial area, but when we're talking about, let's say, undocumented aliens here, and I know that the hospital deliberately does not track this for a lot of different reasons, can you explain why?
Well, we want to take care of anyone who comes in. We have a duty to do that, and we feel that if we were to document that or register people as an undocumented alien, that people may not come in for care, or they may be, something would happen that wasn't intended and not in their best interest from a healthcare stance. So we don't register people when they come in as you know, an alien or undocumented or anything else.
And Diane, if you could also explain what the ramifications are of that, because if you were to have the doors closed to somebody who may not be here legally, who is suffering from some kind of illness, they may wind up, if they're responsive or not responsive, at the door of the emergency room anyway.
Well, that's pretty much where they're probably going to end up, because, you know, physicians around town don't accept those patients, and emergency rooms do. So most often in a case of a medical emergency where they aren't hooked into the healthcare system in the community, the ER is going to be their first choice for healthcare.
In terms of a broader policy question, and because the state has not accepted Medicaid expansion, where, if you were to look at one direction that we do need to go to in the next couple of years, because a lot of hospitals remain to be under a great deal of financial stress because of the current situation, what would your suggestion be?
You know, I think we've led by example in a lot of this. I think we started a lot of programs that get cost of health care down. I mean, we have urgent care spread out throughout the whole service area. You know, roughly to go to one of our urgent cares is 20% of the cost of going to an ER visit, and you unclog the ER and that type of thing. On the care for people who can't afford, we have opened up the Newtown facility for our resident training, as Catherine talked about. And the health department here does an incredible job of getting people in and seeing them for free or low cost. And in the specialty clinic, you can't say enough about that. It's very unique here. I don't think it happens in all communities or even most communities. But the fact that our physicians volunteer to go in and treat people is amazing.
So again, why not? I mean, if this is a matter of, in the long run, saving money from emergent care, why not? Why isn't there more conversation around the state in terms of having these type of clinics that in the end will save, you know, taxpayers and the government a great deal of money?
I think it's up to the individual healthcare systems in the communities to answer those kind of questions and what's best for their communities. This is what works for Sarasota and our surrounding area. And it's something I think that should be replicated other places, but I can't tell you what would work, say, in Jacksonville or Orlando.
And Diane, you know, we showed an example of a woman in our reporter story here who is somebody who is caught in the middle, makes too much money for Obamacare, not enough money to actually afford these things. Hospitals do have financial assistance programs. If you could just briefly explain how that would work.
Well, we have various programs, but basically a sliding fee schedule from a 60% discount all the way up to an 80% discount for those that are uninsured or underinsured. And it really depends on where you fall into the federal poverty guidelines about that sliding fee schedule, but we try to work with each and every one of those patients and find the right fit for them, and hopefully maybe we can find Medicaid coverage or another third-party coverage for them to help assist them. But that financial assistance team is very proud of trying to find a way to help out those patients, very compassionate about it.
Okay, we have to take another quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment, so stay with us.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TrueStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TrueStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
The day you lose your strength is the day you lose your independence. Muscle is lost with age, affecting your energy, balance, and mobility. Before you know it, you're depending on others just to get through the day. But you can reverse and prevent muscle loss. Introducing MyoHealth, a revolutionary proven approach to increased muscle strength and function in as little as 30 days. Live life on your terms with more energy and confidence.
After a serious health issue put me down, MyoHealth's getting me back up again.
I'm doing activities that I haven't done for a long time. It really works.
MyoHealth is a safe, natural dietary supplement, the result of decades of research and 24 human clinical studies. You can live stronger at any age with greater strength, mobility, balance, and energy. Call or go online now and take the MyoHealth 30-Day Strength Challenge.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
And our guest joining us right now for final thoughts. So Dave, if there was one part of this conversation you want our viewers to walk away with, what would that be?
You know, I think it's we're very lucky to be in the Suncoast and in Sarasota specifically. We have a great healthcare system that is here to take care of all people and to do our best to provide great healthcare across the board.
And Diane, to that woman who was in Erica's package, who basically, is concerned about if she went to the emergency room or the hospital, she doesn't know how she's going to pay for it because she's underinsured. What would you say?
Well, I'd say for us, we have a very robust financial assistance team, and they're going to do everything they can in the most compassionate way to help that patient. Whether that is, meeting the discounted charges or seeking charity care or coming to a reasonable payment arrangement that the patient can actually maintain.
And Catherine, when it comes to the community specialty clinic, is the public using it to its fullest advantage? Are you at capacity? Are there enough physicians and nurses to accommodate more people out there in the community who may need that kind of help?
Well, we're extremely lucky in that Gary and Barbara Rodkin just donated $1 million to our clinic over the next 5 years. So we are going to be hiring a couple more people to help us, and we will have more expanded care coming up very shortly. But I think a lot of uninsured people don't know about the system of care in Sarasota County, and they wait too long. And I just want people to know that there is help out there for them. I'm happy to help anybody if they call. Yeah.
Thank you. We'll have to leave it there, but I think we did a good job in terms of explaining to people how it works, and we appreciate it. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Dave Arinder, the CEO of Sarasota Memorial Hospital, Diane Settle, who oversees SMH's Financial Assistance Program, and Catherine Cantley, who oversees the Community Specialty Clinic. When we return, the first of many services honoring Senator John McCain began in Arizona today. But right now, let's get a final check on our first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Al, if it wasn't for the last few days, this would go down as one of the driest Augusts on records, but that isn't going to happen. Heavy rainfall over the past 5 days has really changed the story a little bit. Van Wezel webcam, just watch from 2 o'clock this afternoon. It was raining and the storms were heavy. In fact, they went down to zero visibility at times, and shower after shower and thunderstorm after thunderstorm has been making its way through parts of the Suncoast this afternoon, and now in the evening, basically light rainfall out there. We're seeing a little break in the clouds off in the Gulf, and we may see a sunset or a nice sunset. Look at this. This is in Venice near Jacaranda and 41 at the Wells Fargo Bank. That roof gave way, collapsed, possibly as a result of the heavy rainfall that was around. And again, that was no injuries reported there. That was at the Wells Fargo Bank right there in Venice off of Jacaranda near US 41. Raining there still now at this hour, although most of the rain is light. There are some pockets of some moderate rainfall still lingering across parts of Northport, near Arcadia, a little heavier activity just to the east of Wauchula now. And you can see that rainfall in Venice, not too much there right now, but some moderate rainfall near Northport. And up into Braden, too. Braden had their fair share of some heavy rain, over 2.5 inches in some isolated areas. And it looks like we are going to see the possibility of some more rain tomorrow. The evening planner does call for light rain to continue and linger up until 9 o'clock. And then by 11 o'clock tonight, we should be dry at that point. Still some clouds lingering. And then it moves out of here. We have partly cloudy skies, and we'll see generally sunny skies to partly cloudy conditions throughout most of the day tomorrow. So dropping the kids off at school should not be a problem. Picking them up may be a different story, as we're seeing some showers and storms developing in the afternoon and into the evening. Some of those could be rather strong at times as they make their way off toward the northwest at around 10 to 15 miles an hour. Now we are anticipating, it looks like Friday, a chance for scattered storms. So football Friday night could be a little bit wet at times like we saw this past Friday. And we're watching the potential for a tropical wave to increase our rain chances. Will it be a storm? It doesn't look like it right now, but we'll watch it very closely considering where we're at in terms of the hurricane season. So far, we've had 3 tropical storms and 2 hurricanes, 5 total. And this, by the way, is the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. On this date, back in 2005, it slammed ashore with Category 3 winds, but a storm surge of up to 28 feet high, causing significant deaths in Mississippi. And we all know about the flooding problems in Louisiana. All told, about 1,500 people lost their lives as a result of that storm. The next storm up is Florence, followed by Gordon, and then we'll see if we'll make it past Helene, and also Isaac in store for us for the rest of the season. Now, current conditions, we are looking at a light rain lingering now, 73 degrees, same as the dew point. It makes the humidity 100%. We have a northeast wind at 10. And the high today was a little bit below average because the showers came a little earlier, so it didn't have a time to really warm up. And rainfall totals pretty impressive at the airport, over 1.25 inches there. We're still below average for the month, though, nearly 5 inches below what we normally see. Most of the rain throughout August was east of I-75 because of that westerly flow, persistent westerly flow that we saw. Now, the highs tomorrow will warm up still near 90 degrees, which is fairly average. The top number on your screen, the heat index, it will be up near 100 degrees, and a good round of showers and storms. We're in this pattern. It's not going to go away anytime soon. We're going to see it through the weekend and even through next week, which could be enhanced by a tropical wave come Tuesday and Wednesday. A high pressure off the Carolina coast continues to provide us with that easterly wind. That, again, is the catalyst when it bumps up against the west coast sea breeze in the afternoon. Quite a bit of moisture out here in the Gulf of Mexico. Nothing brewing, but, boy, a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity out there. Temperature is starting to cool down over the northern plains and upper Great Lakes as a result of that front that's moved through, but it did bring tornadoes, heavy rainfall throughout this region over the past couple of days. Still hot in Boston, but not as hot as it was 2 days ago when it got up to 96, 92 now in Washington, and a bit cooler in Atlanta at 89 degrees. For boaters tomorrow, east winds at 10 knots. Seas will be running 2 feet or less. A light chop on the bays and inland waters. The water temperature now starting to cool a little bit because of the rain. 87 degrees, UV index at an 11 tomorrow. And then the rain chances staying high on Thursday at 60, same on Friday. These will be mainly afternoon and evening thunderstorms. And then a little bit better chance for some more widespread coverage, I think, on Saturday and Sunday. And even into Tuesday and Wednesday, due to that tropical wave, we'll have a 70% chance for storms on Tuesday. Alan will be back with primetime headlines right after this.
According to Golf Digest, 2 of the nation's top golf resorts are on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, the Auburn Opelika Marriott at Grand National, and the Renaissance Ross Bridge Golf Resort and Spa in Birmingham. Plus, the Marriott at Grand National was recognized as Hotel of the Year by Marriott International. Experience luxury and world-class golf Southern style. Visit rtjgolf/resorts or call 800-949-4444 to book your trip to the trail.
Another pair of satisfied emotions. Looks to me like elation and maybe some amazement. It's part of the Honda Summer Spectacular event experience. You could say satisfaction comes standard here, just like the Honda Accord comes standard with a luxurious, roomy interior. All at the Honda Summer Spectacular event.
We see it all the time.
Visit your local Honda dealer and test drive the Honda Accord, 2018's North American Car of the Year.
Attention. On January 1st, 2018, the United States Tax Cut Act officially became law. This law also changes Obamacare. If you are uninsured or struggling to afford your current health insurance, there is now immediate relief. Health insurance that's not high-priced Obamacare is now available. Call the Health Insurance Helpline now. It's free. The cost for health insurance has been a serious problem in America, but now the law has changed. So many people don't get the insurance they need because they just don't call. Don't spend money you don't have to spend. Call now. It's free. If you are uninsured or unable to pay for ACA coverage, call the Health Insurance Helpline now. Get what you deserve. Call to see if you qualify for health care or dental coverage that starts immediately. Don't delay. Call now. It's free. Call 800-307-8167. 800-307-8167. Call 800-307-8167 now.
Addiction is a dark place. But just as each new day breaks, there is light. A light that illuminates the people by your side. Out of the darkness, you are walking with 22 million others struggling with addiction. The cure to darkness is light. The cure to stigma is love, and the cure to disease is treatment. Join us as we walk into the dawn of the new day. Together, we are stronger than addiction. Learn more at chatterproof.org.
ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch ABC7 wherever you are, on our live stream, on mysuncoast.com, on the ABC7 My Suncoast app, powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, dining with recipes, and My Suncoast Restaurant Guide. Visit mysuncoast.com. Click on the Apps tab to download the ABC7 My Suncoast app for Apple and Android.
Checking primetime headlines this week, services for honoring Senator John McCain began today. The war hero and former presidential candidate will lie in state at the Arizona Capitol building in Phoenix today. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez is there with more on today's tribute.
Paying final respects to an American icon, John McCain's flag-draped casket carried into the Arizona Capitol building, placed on the state seal. His widow Cindy silently showing her love, daughter Megan surrounded by her brothers in tears during this private ceremony in the rotunda.
None of us were ready for this. We never would have been ready for this.
The late six-term senator lying in state today. Veterans, constituents, even those who didn't agree with him politically, lining up for hours to pay their respects on what would have been McCain's 82nd birthday.
I love what he stands for. He represents America, what America should be.
This the first of several days of services honoring McCain, who died Saturday after a year-long battle with brain cancer. Close friend and former presidential campaign manager Rick Davis on CNN sharing the war hero's final display of bravery.
I saw the progression of the disease and what it did to his body, but his spirit and his mind stayed strong to the end, and he was really an inspiration to us.
An inspiration to the 10,000 people who are expected here today. And after a memorial service here in Phoenix tomorrow, McCain's body will be brought to Washington, D.C. for 2 more days of ceremonies before he's laid to rest in Annapolis Sunday. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Phoenix.
President Trump needs to find a new White House counsel. The president announcing on Twitter that Don McGahn is stepping down from the position. McGahn will leave this fall. That's when Trump hopes Congress will confirm his Supreme Court Justice nominee, Brett Kavanaugh. Speculation about McGahn's future at the White House has persisted since it was confirmed earlier this month that he has cooperated with special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. Back to Florida, with drama already in the governor's race less than 24 hours after the candidates became official. Republican candidate Ron DeSantis denying he used a racially offensive language to describe his Democratic opponent Andrew Gillum. DeSantis made the comments in an interview on Fox News just hours after winning the Republican nomination.
The last thing we need to do is to monkey this up by trying to embrace a socialist agenda.
Fox News responding earlier this afternoon, apologizing for the language. Prince's family is suing the star's former doctors. 6 of Prince's brothers and sisters filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Prince's former doctor. The family is also suing Walgreens and several healthcare groups. They claim all the defendants had a chance but failed to diagnose and help Prince with his opioid addiction before he died. The doctor's attorney says the case has no merit. In April, he agreed to pay a $30,000 fine to settle civil allegations of prescribing drugs to someone else, knowing Prince would take them. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.